Last time we spoke about lists. Lists are how we group a bunch of information together. Now we're going to go on to talk about loops. Loops are how we repeat a bunch of code, repeat a block of code over and over and over again. And you'll see very quickly how intermingled the two are, because very often we want to just do the same thing to every item on a list individually. And so we're going to be able to loop through a bunch of lists. Before we can loop through lists, we're going to talk about loops on their own. There are two kinds of loops, for and while loops. We're going to start with a while loop. A while loop looks like this. So we'll call it while loops inside our new lesson 6. And we will start with while true, which is a Boolean that you're familiar with, right? While true, print I'm working. And like that, I run my code. Control-Shift-10, run my code, and notice how my program's not stopping. It just keeps going forever. Why? Because of how a while loop works. While this condition is true, it's gonna run. Now, when does true become not true? Never. So my loop is going to run forever, unless I push this handy little stop button that I have inside PyCharm. That's going to stop my code, which is great and very useful. Now, instead of writing true, if I write false, how many times does my loop run? 0. It never runs. Why? Because while false, oh, it's false, I get to ignore whatever's next. What we really want to do is we want to do something more meaningful. So we're going to set a variable. We're going to say a, and we'll give it the value of 5. We're going to say while a is less than 10, print, and we're not going to print I'm working, we're going to print a. Now, if we run this code, once again it runs forever. Why? Because my condition is true. And 5 is always less than 10, so what we need to do is we need to actually change the value of 5 as the code runs. So in this case, I'm going to do plus equals 1, and I'm going to run my code again. And now it runs the code, but it only runs it that limited number of times. Why? Because it says, hey, so a equals 5 at the start of my program, so it says 5 is less than 10. Cool. It prints out the number 5, right? Because it prints out the value of a, and then it says a plus equals 1. So now a is valued at 6. So we go back to the top of the loop and we say, hey, is 6 less than 10? Yes. So we print out 6, and then we go to the next one, which is a now equals 7. 7 less than 10, print 7. Go to 8. Is 8 less than 10? Print 8. Go to 9. 9 less than 10? Yeah. Print 9. Go again. And now 9 plus 1 equals 10. Is 10 less than 10? No. So we just ignore that and we go to the end. And that's the end of our program. So now I've written 3 lines of code, and it runs a bunch of times. And I get the value of a every time along the way. So if I wanted to do something with the numbers, for example, if I wanted to do a bunch of modulos, just to check all the modulos between, let's say, 0 and 50, right? So let's say I want to do, if I wanted to get the value of 0 and 50, from 0 to 50 modulo 7. Or, let's say I wanted to get it from 0 to 13 for modulo 7, like we did back in lesson number 3. We had this mod over here, right? And we were doing 1 to 13 mod 5. So here we're going to do, so we'll do mod 5. This is exactly the same code as this, except we've taken 14 lines and turned them into 4 lines, which is, nice. So we're going to run this code, and we get the same result we did last time with the other one, except here I started at 0, there I started at 1, so we'll change this. But if we run this is exactly the same as running this program. The only difference is here it's 14 lines and here it's 1 line, or it's 4 lines. This is a while loop. A while loop is, while this condition is true, do everything inside. So when you write a while loop, you want to make sure that somewhere in the while loop we change the condition, right? Because we need a way to escape our loop, otherwise it will run forever. That is a while loop, and a loop is just repeat this, loop around this until we're done. Next, in next video, we're going to talk about for loops. As always, if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll be happy to answer.